Hello, YouTube. It has been a month of Sundays since I have been on here, and I decided to pop in and say hello. I'm going to throw on a little bit of oil and throw on my bracelet. I hope you all are doing fantastic on this lovely Friday. I had no intentions on going live today, so this is a huge surprise probably for you. It is a huge surprise for me. I don't know if I'm going to keep this video up. Not sure. We shall see. But I wanted to say hello to you. I've set my timer for 20 minutes. You guys can see what this topic is about. And it says men who hate women. Um, and I could also say women who hate men. We're living in a world where there is so much divide, and it is people are divided over gender, people are divided over their sex, people are divided over these things, men versus women. And let me just say that this is silly. This is actually creating such a toxic environment for humanity. And this is why this message is very important. I had no intentions on coming in here and sharing a message like this today, or even coming on here at all, and yet I feel the need to really stress how when you divide yourselves, you really you do more damage than you do good when you are against yourselves, because essentially you are against yourselves. When it is men versus women or women versus men, you are against yourself. And so this is very problematic, because at the end of the day we need each other. At the end of the day we complement each other. At the end of the day we are the same. And I know there are people out there who don't believe that um, a man has the same value as a woman, or that a woman has the same value as a man, and or whatever. There are men who are out here bashing women, and who don't treat women with the same type of respect that they would treat another man. And this is happening also on the other side. Women who are disrespectful as well. We need to stop this divide that we have, men and women, and we need to come together and unite, because again it is creating a culture of violence actually. And I see it happening a lot with women. Like, women across the world are still in really bad positions. They're still, suffering. Women across the world, some of them don't have rights, and they're treated as second class citizens, and they're, in abusive relationships, et cetera, et cetera. Women across the world, and you're seeing, what I'm seeing is a rise of bitterness. I'm seeing a rise of bitter men who came from non-loving and non-nurturing environments. Maybe they weren't nurtured by their mother for whatever reason, and I'm seeing it actually affect how they treat women. And this is very problematic. Or men who maybe, they just don't have the emotional intelligence. People are lacking in emotional intelligence. And so there's a lot going on in the atmosphere. And I want to say that it is not okay to treat people in a violent way. I want to talk about how abuse starts. See, abuse starts way before you make contact with an individual. Abuse starts by your mindset, your subconscious mind, and how you view the other person, how you view women. For example, did you know that 1 in 3 women are victims of abuse? And of course abuse happens to men too. And it's not something that's talked about, yet it does happen. Yet at the same time, 85% of the time it is women. I feel like that's an accurate statistic. More women are being abused than men are. Abuse in itself is so problematic, and it starts, you have to, in order to heal it, you need to start at the root. You need to start at the root. And what I'm finding is oftentimes this root, when it comes to men abusing women, comes from this lack of being nurtured and lack of love that they received perhaps from their mother, or didn't receive from their mother. And this hatred actually that they have for women, and they end up carrying it into their relationships, and therefore end up being abusive in their relationships. And it may be something that is subconscious. For example, again, a man, for example, thinking that he is superior to a woman. When you think you are superior to anyone, then it's a dangerous mindset to have, because you see yourself as being over them. You see yourself as being the authority. You see yourself as being right. You see them as being wrong. You see yourself here and you see them here. And that's very problematic, because the reality of the situation is no one is above or below you. And when you start to see a woman or a man as down here and you're up here, then it's very problematic. Then it's easier for you to feel like you need to be in control of them, because you don't see them as being your equal. You don't see them as being on the same level as you. So it's easier for you to look down and demean them. You're setting yourself up to be abusive. I need to let you know this. This is a very important message, and it is coming from the ethers. What we're talking about again is abuse. We're talking about specifically men who hate women, and we know that there are women who hate men. We're talking about right now, because we can only cover one thing at a time. That's a whole nother show. Men who hate women, and where this hate comes from, and how this hate can turn into abuse. Another subconscious thing that you need to be aware of as a man is, first of all, the relationship you have with your mother. Second of all, healing that relationship if at all possible. If you have a broken relationship with your mother, if you can't heal the relationship, let's say your mother has passed on, healing it within yourself, healing the relationship that you had with your father. Maybe your father didn't teach you how to be a loving man. Maybe your father didn't teach you how to be a compassionate man. And maybe you feel like you're missing out on that skill set. But you have to learn how to heal that within yourself, so that you don't end up abusing someone else because you lack love. Oh, let me sip my coffee. Listen, I ain't got nothing but time. This message is for someone. This message is for someone. So if you are a man who has a broken relationship with their mother, or you are a man who lacks love because you haven't healed from within, you haven't healed that nurturing spirit, you haven't healed your own nurturing spirit, because you've never been nurtured, and your spirit is broken because you don't know what it's like to receive love from a mother. You don't know what it's like to be hugged. You don't know what it's like to have that support. You need to heal that before you enter into a relationship with anybody. With anybody. Okay. Number two. So let me just write this down for the sake of keeping track of things. Thank you for being here. So, issues with your mother, lack of love, inability to nurture, uh, lack of emotional intelligence, not knowing how to be gentle with a woman. And you can learn this from, you might early on learn this from your father. So not knowing how to be gentle with a woman. These are all very problematic. Issues with your mother, a lack of love, inability to nurture, lack of emotional intelligence, not knowing how to be gentle with a woman. These are things that can be very problematic if you enter into a relationship. Because if you don't heal these issues, then you might take these issues into your relationship. I'm talking to men right now. Normally, I'm talking to women. And I love talking to women, but every once in a while, I really have to talk to men. At one point in time in our history, in the history of this world, men were seen as protectors of women and children. And now, 1 in 3 women experience abuse from their partner that at one point was looked at as a protector. Something is wrong. It's emergency right now. There's an emergency going on in the atmosphere. This is why men and women, yet right now this is for men. Men need to heal at all from the inside out. There are a lot of broken men out there, and they're covering up their brokenness because they have yet to get to the root of their brokenness. I'm helping you get to the root today. Some of the issues that can cause you to be abusive, again, is if you had issues with your mother that you haven't healed, issues where you experienced a lack of love, abandonment, issues with the inability to nurture. You don't know about nurturing because you haven't been nurtured. You have a lack of emotional intelligence. A lot of the things that people have issues with, they develop these issues during childhood. That's why I'm talking about your relationship that you had with your mother. This is why oftentimes you need to go back to your childhood in order to heal things. I hope I'm helping somebody. Not knowing how to be gentle with a woman. These are things that can lead to abuse. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be an abusive person, but it could lead to you being abusive in one way, shape, or form. And remember, abuse is not always physical, okay? It's emotional, it's mental. You can manipulate and be abusive. Okay, so let me continue to show you some other patterns that you want to be mindful of, some other root causes that you want to heal before you enter into a relationship with somebody. You need to heal yourself. If you are a man that doesn't see a woman as equal to you, as on your level, you are setting yourself up to be abusive. Because like I said earlier, you don't see them as the same as you. You see them as something less than you. The same thing happened, and the same thing has repeated itself over and over in history, over and over again. That's why we have had so many wars. But the same thing happened, with slavery. Okay, different people enslaved because one group saw themselves as superior. When you see yourself as superior, you see someone else as inferior. And if you see someone else as inferior, then that subconsciously gives you permission to treat them any kind of way. Listen, it's a very important message. Okay, this can be problematic. If you don't see a person as the same, you could treat them any kind of way, which means you could easily be abusive to them. You are setting yourself up to be abusive. And why? Why? These are things you want to look at. So again, not being able to see a woman as being equal is very problematic. Write that down. Not being able to see a woman as equal. Able to see a woman as equal. Hating women. If you hate women, you're already setting yourself up to potentially be abusive towards women because you hate women. If you hate women, hating women, you're setting yourself up to be abusive. Loving to see violence inflicted on women. If you love to see violence inflicted on women, if that turns you on, this is problematic. I need you to see the root. You need to heal the root. Okay. If you love seeing violence inflicted on women, this is problematic. If you have these gender roles in your mind that are, you must, if you are a woman, you must do this, you must do that, you must do this, and you must do that, you must do this, and you must do that, and you leave no ground, no wiggle room for an individual to be an individual. You have these strict parameters. You're setting yourself up. Now, I know that some of these things may be controversial because we live in a world that has been ruled, at least for a long time, by major religions that have put women in subservient positions, that have made women second-class citizens and have justified it through religious texts. And many people have bought into that. And therefore, they justify treating women in a very abusive way. You're setting yourself up to be abusive. Okay, let me write that down. What was that last one? You know what I said. Rewind the tape. The bottom line is, if you don't see a woman as a human being like you, you're setting yourself up to be abusive. If you have these ideas of what a woman does and what she doesn't do, you're setting yourself up to be abusive. I'm going to give myself 20 more minutes here. and then I'm going to be done. Another example of setting yourself up to be abusive would be, hold on, let me write this other one down. Gender roles. I'll just put it like that. Gender roles. Roles. Okay. Strict gender roles. Another way that you set yourself up potentially to potentially be abusive, I'll say it that way, would be when you have these ideas about women, like, for example, how a woman should dress, your skirt's too short, your skirt's too short, et cetera, et cetera. Like, if you're one of those men who are controlling and you like to tell women how they should dress and what they should put on their social media, and and tell them that that's not ladylike for you. If you have these ideas and you judge a woman by what she wears and her social media, and you try to, a controlling behavior is an abusive behavior. A controlling behavior is an abusive behavior. I don't care how you try to sugarcoat it, package it, wrap it up, tie it up, clean it up. A controlling behavior can lead you down the path. It is where it starts. When you look at people who have survived domestic violence, where their significant other, women in particular, who have survived domestic violence, where their men have put their hands on these women, the women always go back and say, he started by, what he said, the words he used, asking me about my social media, or asking or telling me, I should wear this, or I should wear my hair like this, or trying to change that person. It's abusive because you're not accepting them as they are. This is problematic. And I know this happens on the other end, but I'm talking to men today because we are living in a crisis when 1 in 3 women are abused. And you can see the toxicity in the atmosphere with men who hate women, and they need healing, because if they don't get healing, then they will hurt women. And when you hurt women, you hurt yourself. Now, this is a Robe Chronicles, so I'm going to let that sit for a minute. If you don't like smoking, then you can click off. Please, with love. All right. So what are some other slippery slopes that you want to be mindful of? I hope I'm helping somebody, because at the end of the day, I'm helping you get to the roots. I'm helping you uncover certain maybe things that you might have been doing and thinking that that's okay. I'm telling you how this could lead to you creating an abusive nature within yourself. And you don't want that. You don't want it. You don't want it. I'm talking to men today. The conversation for women, it may come. But right now, by the way, I'm smoking this nasty sativa. I don't know what it's called. Double scoop. Okay. Another problem, when you diminish someone's achievements. Like if you're a man and you're diminishing a woman's achievements, or if you are a man and you talk down to women, again, these male chauvinistic, if you have male chauvinistic tendencies, that's abusive. Again, you're seeing yourself as superior when you say things like when you speak down to a woman. And we all know what it feels like to get spoken down to. Men have gotten spoken to women. We all know what that feels like. This is problematic. Okay. It's emotional abuse. Okay. Another example of those, these are all very subtle. These are very subtle examples. This is how it starts. And then the next thing you know, you end up having your hands around that person's neck. And then the next thing you know, you end up having your hands on that person's shoulders. And then the next thing you know, you end up pushing that person or pinning that person on the bed. You need to get a handle on any issues of anger that you have as a man. You need to heal the root, which comes from often a lack of love. A lack of love. If you don't heal this root, you could easily pass on this toxin to generations after generations after generations. If you don't heal the root, the jealousy and the spirit of control or the spirit of manipulation or the spirit of anger, if you don't heal these things, if you don't get real with yourself, if you don't heal yourself, if you continue to hate women, if you continue to place women in a box, if you continue to see yourself as superior, you're setting yourself up to be abusive. And I need you to be mindful of this today so that our world can be healed. Again, at one point in time, men, they would protect the mother. They were protectors. And now 1 in 3 women is a victim of abuse. Please take heed to the information in this video. I know that it will help someone. If you are a man and you have any of these issues that I mentioned in this video, please get help. Please get help before you lay hands on somebody. Please get healing. Please open up your heart chakra because that needs the most healing. Yeah. Please see someone that can help you and help you heal the root cause of why you feel the need to put your hands on someone. Please heal the anger that is within so that you can become our protectors again. I love you all. Bye.